Hey everybody, this is Jewelyn. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my home here in Santa Monica, California. Welcome to my quarterly series on my channel, my plant tour for summer 2019. In today's video, part 3 of 4, I am going to be taking you around my studio and sharing with you how I'm styling plants in a studio that doesn't have much lighting. I do have 2 windows. The one behind me above my bed doesn't bring any natural sunlight because of the big pine tree that is hovering over my space. And then I have one other window which brings the most natural sunlight, which is next to my baker's rack and my kitchen area. So most of my plants kind of hover towards this section, which I'm facing that window right now. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and also give this video a thumbs up if you love watching plant tours and seeing how I style plants in my home. And also stay tuned for the end of the video where I will be doing another giveaway for the month of August, which is my birthday month. I'm heading to the Philippines in 1 week and I can't wait to hopefully bump into some plant lights so I can share it for the main channel. I will be vlogging for my vlog channel, Travel with Jewelyn. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Without further ado, let's go ahead and see what plant babies are currently living in my home. So let me take you around my space really quickly, and then I'll go ahead and break down what's currently living in my space. So as you enter my studio right away, I do have some natural sunlight, so I always style a few plants here. So here's a quick little overview of my living room area in my studio. So kind of the same setup since my last tour. I love all of the pieces that are in my space. A lot of thrifted vintage pieces. So on the right side of my love seat, I have my bed. There's Ebby hanging out. And I still have my DIY plant stand that was actually made for my kitchen area that Kira and I made when I first moved in here a couple years ago. And now it houses plants. So this has been working out great for me and the plants, and I love being able to see this when I'm lying in bed every night. Alright, so here is my plant gang on the side of my bed. What's currently living right up against the walkway area of my bathroom. And I have one macrame hanger in here. It's a 3-plant macrame hanger, but I don't have anything on the top currently. I will probably end up putting a new plant up there. So I have 2 right now. And I always switch them out. Alright, so here is a quick overview of where majority of my plants live in my studio. On the right side, I do have my little kitchen area where I have my one big window that brings in the most lighting. So most of my plants live here. And I have the same setup and it's doing great. Let's start here in the front entrance of my studio. So right away you see 2 plants currently styled as soon as you enter my studio, because I only have one window with not a lot of natural lighting in my space. I like having a few plants here. They'll rotate. My grandma decided to bring in the spider plant for the very first time, making an appearance in my studio because this plant lives full-time in my patio. I decided for summer 2019 that my spider plant should live in my studio. I've never had it in my studio before. As you see, it's pretty massive, so it's been living full-time in my patio. But for today's video and tour, it is styled here and I love it a lot. You see in my plant tours that I use anything thrifted or DIY that's really cheap and inexpensive to style my plants. So I technically don't always look for plant stands. So say for instance, this is a stool that I'll use for everything, to hang my plants up, to get things from my cabinets, and it's currently being used for a plant stand. I even sit on this and film videos. So it's an all-around good stool. And then today my grandma wanted to put one of my fiddly figs styled in my studio, and I think it works great. Again, I have a bunch of fiddly figs. I think I have 4 of them. I think they're great plants. They thrive in my patio. And all of my larger pieces do come out into my patio when I travel, so they get natural sunlight. There's a lot of new growth on this, and I love fiddly figs. So if you haven't watched the Clean With Me video with my grandma and I cleaning up my fiddly figs, go ahead and check it out. I love Ficus lorata. It's a really great house plant, but if you live in a tropical area, this plant might work for you. In Las Vegas, all of the leaves fell off, so I don't suggest it if you live in a very dry climate. These are very tropical plants, but very rewarding when I see lots of leaves pull out from the plant. I was really shocked actually, like how quick the leaves grew back when I brought it to Santa Monica. And it's just styled in a cobalt blue planter. It's So these are the two plants that you see currently right now in my space. Stay tuned for fall 2019 plant tour to see what will be styled here in the next tour. Welcome to my living room area. As you see, I just have a few plants here because I don't have a lot of natural lighting and I do rotate my plants. So currently I have 2 philodendrons on each side. I think my last tour for spring 2019, I might have had 3 on each side, but I decided to style 2 bigger pieces here. So I have George Jr. here, and then I have one of my beautiful philodendron ciliums here. I love philodendrons. Stay tuned, I'll do a collective video. And then currently what's styled on my coffee table is the lucky bamboo, the Singapore lucky bamboo that my grandma gifted me when she was here last year, and then my birthday roses that my mom gifted me over my work weekend in Las Vegas. So thank you, Mom. And I've been loving this section of my studio. I've been wanting a love seat for a long time. I should actually maybe sit on it more often. I just think it's so pretty. But you know who sits on it often? Evie. This is like her favorite place to relax, my grandma and I, and make sure that she gets her snacks. So this is like Evie's love seat. Having a love seat here, and I think it works well with my coffee table. But the plants in this area definitely do rotate. Sometimes I might have my baby spider plant on my coffee table, and I might have like maybe an umbrella plant or maybe my rubber plants because I think they do okay with not a lot of natural lighting. So I just rotate my plants, but right now I have 2 philodendrons on each side, and I love having some kind of jungle vibe in my studio even if there's not a lot of lighting. Let's go ahead and talk about what's going on my DIY plant stand. Again, this was actually made by Kira and I, so we just got some wood from like our local hardware store, spray painted white, and I was housing all of my glass jars for my pantry area because I live in a studio and don't have a full kitchen. And then once I got my baker's rack, I decided to repurpose it for, of course, more plants in my home. So it's been working out great. I love that I'm able to style more plants in my space for being a small studio. Well, technically it's a big studio. I'm surprised I can fit this much plants in my space and still have a jungle vibe in my home. So I always rotate my plants in here, and I love a cobalt blue and white theme for inside of my home. Outside of my home, you see a lot of terracottas for like my sun-loving plants, but other than that, I love white and then blue and white. So here I have my kalanchoe, and this is actually Carrie's one of her favorite plant babies. I've had this one from Las Vegas about 3 years ago. It's doing great. It's in a thrifted white planter. This was actually living in this section for spring 2019 plant tour. Here's another replacement Sansevieria. I like to have a couple Sansevierias in my home just because they don't require a lot of light, so they do well in low light areas, and I have over 20 of them, so I like to have some in my home. So this is another planter from Las Vegas Home Goods, and I actually picked this one up from the Town Square location, which I was really surprised that they had one there. This is one of my prize babies here. So this is my Peperomia Hope, and I got this as one of my wish list plants from my favorite nursery in West Hollywood. It's in a thrifted DIY sugar cup, of course blue and white, that I got from Arizona. I swear Arizona has like pretty good thrifting. All the baskets for my vintage basket wall came from Arizona. My grandma and I went to 20 plus thrift shops and picked those up, so that was really fun for my grandma and I to do, and I love seeing it in my space. Here's a really cool one. This is my Bigfoot. I love caudex plants. They're weird, they're interesting. You never know what's gonna happen with their growth. They're like presents. This one is going crazy, and as you can see, it needs a trellis, so I'm going to do a special video for my plant babies that need trellises, and I'll go ahead and make one specifically for them and their planter. So this is gonna be probably the first one that I want to tackle. Like, look at the growth on here, it's so crazy. This has been living in this section for quite some time. Before, when it was smaller, when I first brought it home, I had it on my plant stand that you'll see in a second, and then once it started trailing more, it lived here. Next to it is a Gasteria that I want to say I got from Las Vegas, and it's living in a cute elephant planter. How adorable is that? So it's been doing good, lives here. And then one of my newest babies in this section is my Peperomia angulata, and you'll see in my patio plant tour that I purchased more. I haven't talked about it yet, but I did get a few new plants here in California that I need to do a plant haul with. So these actually came from West Hollywood from my favorite plant nursery. Never seen this peperomia before. I collect them, and I purchased 2 and I grouped them together in this planter, which I had for over 3 years from probably TJ Maxx Las Vegas. I get a lot of my planters from there a couple years ago. Fast forward now, when I went there over the weekend in Las Vegas, I didn't see any, or like this planting season, I didn't see anything that I like, and the prices went up, which is unfortunate. So you know where I'm gonna go back? I'm gonna go back to Gardena, where I went to that big warehouse with just planters and get more planters there. So stay tuned for that. So I ended up purchasing more peperomia angulata from North Hollywood. I purchased 3 more. So this will eventually come out and be ganged up with the other 3 in a bigger planter, and it'll probably live outside. I have a special place on my vintage plant stand. I think I would like to have it. So for now, it lives here. Love this peperomia, and I'm glad I have it in my collection. So that's everything living on the first shelf. Let's move on to the second shelf. I have a few plants which I feel like maybe might do better outside, like my ripsalices. But for now, they live here. So I have one of my ripsalices that I got from my recent plant haul from the Los Angeles Cactus Succulent Society. So there's a plant festival that Catherine and Carrie and I went to, and it was really fun. I like to go to it every year. I take the channel there as well. It's living in a Daiso Japan planter, which is like my favorite planters, and I'm doing it for my giveaways for this plant tour for summer 2019. And it's been doing good here, but I would like to maybe rotate my ripsalices in my patio to come live in my space. Next to it is one of my sansevieras. It's variegated. I love it. Very hardy plants, so that's a good thing with sansevieras. They'll do fine in my space for days at a time. This one was purchased from Reseda when Catherine and I did that big come with me. We got so many cool things there. When I seen this, I was like, I have to have it for the sansevieria collection. And it's just living in one of my favorite white planters. It's a terracotta style, which I probably got from Ontario, California. I went crazy when I seen those planters there. I think they were under $5 a piece, and they're my aesthetic. Here is part of my original Hoya compacta. I actually gave a part of my original Hoya compacta to Tristan as a thank you. Like right off the spot, I wasn't even thinking. Like, I didn't even know I was gonna get that surprise Hoya compacta. So when he came with that big Hindu rope, and I couldn't believe it because I was really falling in love with it at the plant nursery, and then he surprised me. He went there and picked it up. So thank you, Tristan. So when he came rolling through with that Hoya, I had to give him Hoyas in return. So I took out a big section of my original Hoya, which, by the way, guys, this has been growing with me for over 3 years. When I first bought it, it was this small. So imagine how old my Hoya compacta is that he gave me. I'm thinking it's over 20 years old. So this is what's left of it. But hey, I mean, 3 years and I got this much growth. So I'm really happy about it. There's probably maybe 3 sections in here, and I love this style of planter, and that's why it's part of my giveaway. And then up next to it is one of my ripsalices, which I believe I got from Carpinteria, and I love this style of planter. So this, I wish I had more of these planters. You'll see a bunch of my ripsalices styled in them. I got it from TJ Maxx Las Vegas, and this is one of my plants that I took to van life. Why? Because the planter is small, but yet it takes up real estate and trails over, and I love that, and I think it's such a really cool and interesting plant. So if you haven't watched my collective video for my ripsalis collection, go ahead and check it out. I ended up getting more after, of course, I filmed that video, so I have to do updated videos in the future. But this one is doing great, and actually you'll see in part 4 for my patio plant tour, I have a larger one of this same ripsalis that I purchased in Las Vegas months after, because it was 5 times bigger than this size. So I will go ahead and do that. If I love a plant, I'll repurchase it for whatever reason. And then at the end of this second shelf is one of my favorite Haworthias, and you've seen it as part of Carrie's Haworthia collection. I love it. I have a handful of Haworthias, not as much as Carrie's, but this is one of them. It's living in an owl planter, and of course white. So far I think this Haworthia has been living in here this year, and so far so good, so I'm happy about that. Let's talk about the 5 babies that are living on this last shelf. So here's another Sansevieria which lives currently on the bottom part of this shelf, and I want to say this is a starfish Sansevieria. I love Sansevierias. This is a thrifted popcorn planter that I probably got from Arizona. I have a bunch of them, and they're the crate and barrel popcorn planters, and I drill holes in them. So far so good. This is a replacement plant. My original starfish, which you'll see in my patio plant tour, pretty much more than half of it disappeared from the rain, so that was very unfortunate. So I repurchased the plant, and I got this in Las Vegas recently, so this is a repurchased baby. Here's another fun peperomia, and I got this peperomia, and I want to say it's like peperomia amigo or something along the lines of that. I got this in Santa Barbara. I definitely want to take my grandma there before she goes back home to Hawaii. She hasn't been in Santa Barbara yet, and I've gotten some pretty cool plants there, so stay tuned. I might end up taking the channel there to see what plant life is like months later. But this was a really cool find. Never seen this peperomia in person, and I had to pick it up. And how I knew it was a peperomia was because when I first brought it home, it had rat tail blooms on it, and I was like, oh my goodness, I don't have you. So I'm glad I picked it up, and it's been living here for quite some time in front of my bed. There is another fun Ripsalis, again in the same type of cobalt blue and white planters. So here they are side by side, and I have Ripsalises in them. Now this particular Ripsalis, I want to say came from, I want to say maybe Carpinteria. I'm not too sure. Don't quote me on that. But you'll see in a second that I repurchased the plant bigger, 3 times bigger, from my Los Angeles plant show, which you'll see in a second. But this one is doing good. There's a lot of new growth on it, and again, I collect Ripsalises, so you'll see them throughout my collection. Fun one, another replacement Sansevieria. My original one came from San Diego. It died from the rain earlier this year when I traveled, so I picked up another replacement, and I got this one here in Southern California in Cypress. And it was hidden in a small little greenhouse, and I was like, what? No way, I finally stumbled upon you again, which is very rare. This Sansevieria is considered rare for me, so I'm glad I was able to repurchase the plant for a replacement, again in a thrifted popcorn planter. This is my last plant baby that is living in front of my bed, and this is my beautiful Ripsalis that I got from the plant show this summer in Encino, California, about 14 miles from me. Again, when I did that come with me, you'll see I picked it up a few times, and at the very last second, right before we left and did the haul video, I ended up picking this one up. Again, it's the same Ripsalis on the bottom section of this plant shelf that I just shared with you, but this one is obviously larger. And if you take a look at the characteristic, I just felt like I need to rescue it. It's kind of wild and crazy, so I see a lot of new growth on it, so that makes me really happy. But I love Ripsalises, and I thought this one needed to be a part of my collection, so here it is living in my home. And I always feel like when I bring new plants into my space, I want to say that they're going to be happy because they have so many plant friends among them versus being stuck in some sad plant nursery. You guys seen all my come with me's. There's some good ones and some bad ones, so I feel like when I'm able to bring them home in my space, they can live their best life. And look at this planter. This is a thrifted planter that I got from the Bay Area. When I lived there in the peninsula, I used to do a lot of thrifting, and I styled all my plants there in thrifted things. And for the most part, my whole collection in the Bay Area, I just left there. So everything that you see in my space for the most part is my new plant collection. And it's fine. I love this a lot. At least I have a part of my old collection with me, and I probably picked up this planter for maybe $3, and it has a little tray with it too, which is so cute. So I'm going to do it vlog style for this section. So I have my 3-plant macrame hanger here. It's my only one that I have in my home. I don't like making holes in my studio. I don't have anything currently on the top part. I will probably end up putting a new baby there, but right now I have 2 of my houseplants that I want to say came from West Hollywood here, and of course they rotate. So I have a neon philodendron, and then I have a goldfish here. So these are the 2 plants currently living in the macrame setup in terracottas. So let's talk about my philodendron that's been living in this particular area for quite some time, but again, I do bring it outside to get natural sunlighting. This is my philodendron, and I purchased this, I want to say from Trader Joe's in Las Vegas many years ago, and it's now huge. It's living in a cobalt blue and silver ombre planter that I got from Las Vegas. So living in the bottom section of my plant gang, I have my largest Sansevieria. This is my first Sansevieria ever to come in my collection. I got this from Las Vegas over 3 years ago for, I want to say, under $20. It was a lot smaller, and then now it's here and it's living its best life. And next to it, I have my strawberries and cream rubber plant. Rubber plants are very common here in California, so I can always get bigger ones if I wanted to, but I like growing it, so I have a small one here. This is one of my favorite planters that I got in Gardena. Need to go back there. And then currently here, I have my holly fern, and my grandma just cinched these two larger house plants up to help them kind of stay a little bit more closed in instead of spewing out like crazy. And then I have a blue and white planter that I got from TJ Maxx Las Vegas many years ago. The plants in this section for the most part rotate. My Sansevieria and my philodendron for the most part stays in this section, and they rotate for some sunlight, but other than that, this is their permanent home. So stay tuned to see what plant ends up being on that top part of this macrame hanger system. Hopefully by fall 2019, I'll have a really cute plant up there. I think the last time I did my spring 2019 plant tour, I believe I had a Hoya up there is what I want to say was last styled in there. But again, my plants rotate, so maybe tomorrow or after I film this video, a plant might go up there. But for the most part, this is the current setup. Again, what am I using here? I'm using one of my acrylic chairs as a plant stand, and I also have a hidden little white elephant. Reminds me of my time in Thailand, so I have that here. I also like using glass pie dishes for plant saucers, is another thing you'll see in my home because I think they work out great. So this is the current setup of my plant gang. So this is what's currently living in this section for my plant gang, and let's see what happens for fall 2019 plant tour, what will end up living here. But for the most part, I love having rubber plants here. I love Sansevierias, and I love ferns and philodendrons in this section. So for this section of my studio, I'm gonna stand behind the camera so you can see them up close. This is my little kitchen area, my studio. So my one window here, I have my neon pothos. It's doing great. I had it for a while now. It's living in a macrame hanger that Catherine gifted me. So I have a few plants on my little island area of my studio. I got this vintage wicker chair from Poway, California, thrifted for $5. What a great deal. And I have my rare rip salices here styled on this cute wicker bench, and my owl that I got from the Owl Cafe in Tokyo. So they're doing great, and they get the most sunlight here in my home, and I love being able to look at them whenever I'm cooking and doing things in the kitchen. So these are the few rip salices that I adore so much. Plants, I dropped down my shades so that you can see them. I have 4 plants currently on the top of my baker's rack. I have a propagated spider plant baby there, lucky bamboo, my rescue Las Vegas baby that I got from the trash can at a nursery, and then I have a silver satin pothos there at the end. So these are the 4 babies currently living on the top of my baker's rack. So on the top shelf here, I have my heartleaf philodendron. It trails all the way down to the bottom, and I have one of my original asparagus ferns, which I really like, and I have it in a cobalt blue and white planter. On the second shelf here, I have my repurchased Marble Queen pothos living in leca balls with a few water propagations, and as well as one of my thrifted owls from Japan. This is my Hoya compacta variegata. What's left of it, I did sell parts of it to some subscribers. It's doing good. As you can see, there's not a variegation and some pink in it, so that makes me happy. It's living next to my thrifted vintage owl that I got from Japan. Both of my owls on this plant stand are from different places in Japan, and I don't know how they matched up, and they're so cute. Here is my original Pilea pepermioides. When I got it as a mail order many years ago, it was this small. I was in Norway at the time, and Kira in Las Vegas ended up opening up the package for me, and it was just so nerve-wracking. It was like $100 baby this small, and it was a time in plant life when this wasn't readily available in the United States. So it's doing good. I love it a lot. It lives here next to my grow light, so I have the grow light system here. So here's what's left of my, I want to say, rare peperomia. and I was really upset when the plant started falling to pieces. So this is what's currently left. It's living in leca balls. We'll see if I ever put it back in dirt. I purchased this plant baby many years ago in Las Vegas. Kira and I got it the same time, and this is what's left of it, and it's just living in a leca ball setup for now. I'm trying to save what's left of the plant. And then behind me here is a few of my Hoya Bella, my original ones, which is also living in a leca ball setup. And you know what, it's rooted and doing good, so I just wanted to experiment with my Hoyas. So I have my original Hoya Bella, parts of it living in the leca ball system. And I have another fig here, which is doing really good. So one of my rare Caldex type flabies, and I have it in my Daiso Japan planter, which again I'm doing part of my giveaways, and it's doing good. I think a few leaves did fall off, but I have 4 here, so I'm not mad at that. And I love having it on this shelf. It is a slow grower. On the left of it, I have what's left of my original Maranta in this lemon lime color, and look, there's one little cute bloom here. Isn't that so adorable? So this was actually living in my bathroom in my plant stand, and then I recently brought it outside for a little bit in my patio, and then now it's living on this plant shelf as of like the last week. All right, so we are going to end the video with my 2 Dracaenas, which is, I believe, like a white jewel and a lemon lime Dracaena. These were like my free plants from West Hollywood, living in the leca ball system, and it's doing good. I actually see a lot of rotter roots, so that's doing good too. So these plants are loving life in the leca balls. This was part of my experiment with leca balls for my channel. The thing is, this is a really fun update for the channel as well. I see a lot of roots that grew into the leca ball system. So far so good, and I think they love living life in the leca balls. So these were part of my planting with Jewelyn, experimenting with leca balls. So stay tuned, I'll do more of these in the future for my channel. So that is gonna wrap up part 3 of 4 of my summer 2019 plant tour. I hope you guys enjoy seeing the plant babies that are currently styled in my studio. With only having 1 window with natural sunlight and whatever sunlight that is coming through my patio, I think I'm doing pretty good, and I have a handful of plants styled in here, so I'm pretty happy about that. So if you guys enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments below. Let's talk about today's giveaway. I'm doing 4 giveaways for all 4 parts of my summer 2019 plant tour, celebrating the month of August, which is my birthday, happening in 1 week. So they're pretty similar, just different styles of planters. You're gonna be getting a pair of pruning scissors. I love these. A little mister, and you're going to be getting one of my favorite planters that you see styled throughout my space. I will be announcing the winner 1 week from the time this video goes live, and I will be announcing it on my Planting with Jewelyn Instagram. All of the rules are the same no matter when the giveaway is, what it is. You have to be subscribed to both of my channels, I Love Jewelyn, Miss Jewelyn. Follow me on Instagram, _ILOVEJEWELYN, Planting with Jewelyn. Leave a comment down below the country, city, state that you live in, and what is your favorite houseplant that you have styled in your home. I would love to know in the comments below what is your favorite houseplant you love styling in your home, and I'll choose a winner 1 week from now. So I hope you guys enjoyed my plant tours for summer 2019 and enjoy the giveaways. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. If you're new, welcome. Hit the subscribe button and notification bell to be notified on my daily uploads at 5 a.m. While I am in the Philippines, I will be doing an upload every 4 days, which is the same thing that I did while I was away in Egypt, and then I'll go back to regular daily uploads when I'm back from my holidays. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. You can find more on my blog at ilovejewelyn.blogspot.com. Until next time, aloha from Santa Monica, California. Bye!